Taeho adjusted his breathing apparatus as he stepped onto Earth soil for the first time. The gravity felt strange, heavier than his home planet but not uncomfortable. His silver skin reflected the morning sunlight as he surveyed the green landscape around him. Species 3271, humans, Taeho murmured, recording his observations. Primitive bipedal mammals with limited technological advancement. The Vozari Empire had conquered thousands of worlds across 17 galaxies. Earth was merely the latest planet to join the Galactic Confederation, and only because the Vozari Council considered the solar system a strategic location, certainly not for the humans themselves. Taeho's mission was simple: study human mythology and religious practices. The Council considered these beliefs quaint fantasies, but worth documenting before human culture inevitably assimilated into the Empire. He walked through tall grass toward the research site, an ancient temple nestled between mountains. The structure looked primitive, stone blocks arranged in geometric patterns, yet something about it made his skin tingle with unexpected energy readings. Curious, he said, consulting his scanner. The device showed nothing unusual, yet Taeho sensed something his technology couldn't detect. A human female appeared from around the temple corner. She wore simple clothing, a jacket and pants with many pockets, and carried old-fashioned paper notebooks. "Hello," she called, approaching without fear. "You must be the Vozari scientist." "I'm Dr. Minji." Taeho bowed slightly, the standard greeting his cultural briefing had taught him. "I am Senior Researcher Taeho of the Vozari Scientific Division." "Welcome to Sukaguram Temple," Dr. Minji said. "It's over 1,500 years old." "A recent construction," Taeho remarked, knowing it would seem ancient to humans but was nothing compared to Vozari structures that had stood for tens of thousands of years. Dr. Minji smiled. "Perhaps. But age isn't everything." She led him through the temple entrance, past stone carvings of beings the humans had once worshipped. Taeho recorded everything, noting how primitive the concept of God seemed, creating imaginary powerful beings to explain natural phenomena. "These gods," Taeho said, "your people believe they controlled nature and destiny?" "Some still do," Dr. Minji replied. "Though most modern humans see these as symbolic now." They reached the inner chamber where a large stone Buddha sat in eternal meditation. The statue looked unremarkable to Taeho's eyes, yet his skin prickled again with that strange sensation. "This is what I wanted to show you," Dr. Minji said, approaching the statue. "Watch carefully." She placed her palm against the stone Buddha's forehead and closed her eyes. Taeho prepared to politely observe what would clearly be nothing more than human superstition. Then the air changed. Particles of light, not reflected, but generated, began to swirl around Dr. Minji's hand. Taeho's scanner suddenly malfunctioned, displaying impossible readings. "This cannot be," he whispered. The stone beneath her palm softened like liquid, creating ripples that spread across the statue. Then, slowly, the Buddha's eyes opened, stone eyelids moving like flesh. Taeho stepped back. "How are you doing this? What technology are you using?" Dr. Minji turned to him, her eyes now glowing with the same light surrounding her hand. "Not technology, Taeho. At least, not as your people understand it." The stone Buddha, now fully animated, turned its massive head toward Taeho. The movement should have been impossible, the stone would crack, the weight would collapse, yet it moved with fluid grace. "Impossible," Taeho whispered. "Your empire has conquered thousands of worlds," Dr. Minji said, her voice now carrying a strange echo, "but you've never truly understood what you were looking at." The Buddha raised one stone hand, and Taeho felt himself lifted gently from the ground. No force touched him, he simply floated. "We allowed your people to believe we were primitive," Dr. Minji continued. "We wanted to see what kind of neighbors you would be." She lowered her hand, and the stone Buddha returned to stillness. The lights faded, and Taeho dropped gently back to his feet. "What are you?" he asked, his scientific mind racing to understand. "Just human," Dr. Minji said, her eyes returning to normal. "But humans are not what your empire believes us to be. We've hidden our true nature for thousands of years." Taeho's perception of reality cracked like thin ice. His entire mission, his understanding of the universe, suddenly felt inadequate. The gods your people imagined, Tejo said slowly, they were real. Dr. Minji smiled. Not exactly. But humans have abilities your scientists would call impossible. And now that your empire has found us, it's time we showed you what we really are. Tejo knew then that his report to the Bozari Council would change everything. Humans weren't primitive at all. They were something his civilization had never encountered before, and possibly something they should fear. Tejo sat cross-legged on the stone floor of the temple's inner chamber, watching Dr. Minji with new eyes. The room was lit only by a few candles, their flames perfectly still despite the air currents he could feel on his skin. You're not accepting what you saw, Dr. Minji said, reading his expression. Your scientific mind is trying to find explanations that fit your understanding of physics. There must be an explanation, Tejo insisted. Perhaps nanotechnology embedded in the stone? Or gravitational field manipulation? Dr. Minji smiled and held out her empty hand. No technology. She closed her eyes for a moment. The air above her palm shimmered, and suddenly a small sphere of water appeared, floating and rotating slowly. She moved her other hand above it, and the water changed. First to ice, then to steam, then back to liquid, all while maintaining its perfect spherical shape. Impossible, Tejo whispered, his scanner frantically trying to detect energy signatures and failing. Not impossible, Dr. Minji said. Just beyond your current understanding. The water sphere collapsed into her palm, leaving no trace of moisture. Tejo's scientific training battled with what his eyes witnessed. Humans evolved on a planet with unique quantum properties, Dr. Minji explained. Long ago, some of us discovered we could directly influence reality through consciousness. Your people would call it magic. The ancient humans called it divine power. No species can manipulate matter with thought alone, Tejo argued. My civilization has studied consciousness for 50,000 years. Dr. Minji stood in motion for him to follow. They walked deeper into the temple, through passages that Tejo's scanner insisted didn't exist. Your civilization deliberately avoided studying certain aspects of consciousness, she said. Did you never wonder why? They entered a chamber that opened into a vast underground space. Tejo gasped. Below them stretched an enormous city of crystal and stone, illuminated by lights that followed no power source he could detect. People moved through the streets, some floating rather than walking. This is Siobang, Dr. Minji said. One of 7 hidden cities where the awakened live and train. How many of you are there? Tejo asked, his voice barely a whisper. Perhaps 1 in every 10,000 humans has the potential, she replied. Most never discover it. We find and train those who show signs. They descended a staircase to the city below. Other humans nodded respectfully to Dr. Minji as they passed. Some looked at Tejo with curiosity, others with clear distrust. Your species has a unique brain structure, Dr. Minji continued. During our evolution, we developed neural pathways that can directly interact with quantum fields. Most humans use this ability unconsciously in small ways. The awakened learned to use it deliberately. They stopped at a training area where children practiced moving small objects with their minds. A young boy, no more than 10 years old, carefully assembled a complex puzzle without touching the pieces. This isn't technology, Dr. Minji said gently. This is what humans are. Tejo watched, his worldview crumbling. The Bozari Council must be informed. This changes everything we know about species classification. Dr. Minji's expression darkened. That's exactly what we feared. Your council already knows about us, Tejo. She led him to a circular room with a pool of still water in its center. With a gesture, the water's surface changed to show images, Bozari ships destroying human outposts on distant planets, Bozari scientists experimenting on captured humans. These are records from 50 years ago, when we first detected your civilization approaching our solar system, she explained. We've been watching you. The Bozari have been hunting humans across the stars for centuries, destroying any colony they find. No, Tejo shook his head. We are explorers, scientists. We document and preserve. You preserve what doesn't threaten you, Dr. Minji said. Your leaders fear what they cannot control. She waved her hand again, and the pool showed an ancient battle, humans using abilities similar to what she had demonstrated, fighting against early Vozari ships. Our civilizations met before, thousands of years ago, she said. Your history doesn't record it because your ancestors were nearly defeated. They retreated and erased all knowledge of the encounter. Taeho felt sick. If this is true, why show me? Why not kill me? Dr. Minji's eyes softened. Because we believe in choice, Taeho. The Vozari are not evil, they're afraid. We need allies who understand both sides. She held out her hand. I can show you more. I can teach you to see what your ancestors tried to hide from you. But you must choose to see it. Taeho stared at her outstretched hand. Everything he believed about his civilization, about science itself, was being challenged. Yet the evidence surrounded him. Slowly, he reached out and took her hand. Show me, he said. The alarm pierced the quiet of Seobang City, echoing through crystal corridors and stone chambers. Taeho jolted awake from his meditation, his silver skin reflecting the pulsing red emergency lights. They're coming, Dr. Minji said, bursting into his quarters. Her usual calm demeanor had vanished. The Vozari High Command has dispatched hunters. How? Taeho asked, rising quickly. My reports were neutral. I revealed nothing about what I've seen. They've been monitoring your neural patterns, she explained, handing him a travel pack. Standard procedure for all Vozari scientists studying potentially dangerous species. When your brainwave patterns changed after witnessing my abilities, it triggered an automatic alert. Taeho felt a chill run through his body. The purification unit, he whispered. Dr. Minji nodded grimly. 5 ships entered Earth's atmosphere an hour ago. Their energy signatures match your military elite forces. For 3 weeks, Taeho had trained with Dr. Minji, learning the truth about human potential and his own species' dark history. The Vozari Empire, which he had served proudly for decades, had built its dominance on lies and genocide. We need to move, she said. The temple above has already been secured by Vozari troops. They hurried through the underground city, joining streams of humans heading toward deeper chambers. Taeho noticed many carried no supplies, their hands would be needed for defense. Can you fight them? Taeho asked. The purification unit has technology specifically designed to neutralize threats. If they've been hunting humans for centuries, they must have countermeasures for your abilities. They do, Dr. Minji confirmed. They've developed field generators that disrupt our quantum manipulation. That's why we're not staying to fight. They reached a large circular chamber where dozens of awakened humans formed a defensive perimeter. At the center stood a massive stone arch, carved with symbols Taeho couldn't read. A tremendous boom shook dust from the ceiling. The hunters had breached the upper temple. They're moving faster than expected, said an older human man who approached them. Minji, we need you at the gateway. Jinwoo, this is Taeho, Dr. Minji introduced. He's with us now. Jinwoo studied Taeho with hard eyes. A Vozari defector? Can we trust him? I've seen his heart, Dr. Minji said simply. He chooses truth over loyalty to lies. Another explosion, closer this time. The defensive perimeter tightened. Make your final choice now, Taeho, Dr. Minji said urgently. Stay with us and you'll be labeled a traitor to your people. The Vozari Empire will hunt you forever. Taeho looked around at the humans preparing to defend their hidden world. For thousands of years, his civilization had taught that the Vozari were the most advanced beings in the universe. Yet here were humans, doing things his people had deemed impossible. I choose truth, he said firmly. Dr. Minji nodded and led him toward the stone arch. She placed her hands on 2 carved handprints, and the empty space within the arch began to shimmer and glow. The chamber doors burst open. Vozari soldiers in black armor poured in, carrying weapons that hummed with energy designed to disrupt quantum fields. Taeho recognized their commander, Seo Gun, most decorated hunter in the fleet. Scientist Taeho, Seogun called, his voice amplified. Step away from the humans. You've been compromised by their influence. Several humans fell as the soldiers activated field generators. Their abilities suppressed, they couldn't defend themselves against the energy weapons. Hurry, Taeho urged Dr. Minji. They'll kill everyone. Almost ready, she grunted, sweat beading on her forehead as she fought against the disruptive fields. Seogun advanced through the chaos, fixing his gaze on Taeho. Your neural patterns show significant alteration. You require purification, old friend. Taeho stepped between Seogun and Dr. Minji. What we've been told about humans is a lie, Seogun. Our entire history is built on deception. Irrelevant, Seogun replied coldly. The council decides truth. Step aside. He raised his weapon. Taeho didn't move. Now! Dr. Minji shouted. The arch flared with blinding light. Taeho felt Seogun's weapon discharge. Searing pain tore through his shoulder. But then Dr. Minji grabbed him, pulling him backward through the arch as Seogun lunged forward. They fell through impossible space, tumbling through colors Taeho had never seen before. When they landed, they were in a different chamber, vast and ancient, lined with technology that appeared both primitive and impossibly advanced. Dr. Minji helped Taeho to his feet as other humans emerged from similar gateways around them. Where are we? Taeho asked, clutching his injured shoulder. The first sanctuary, Dr. Minji said. Deep beneath what humans call the Himalayas. The oldest human settlement on Earth and the one place the Bozari have never found. She looked at his wound. Now we heal you. And then we prepare. Because the hunters never stop once they've begun a purification. The first sanctuary hummed with ancient power. Taeho sat in a chamber of polished stone, watching Dr. Minji demonstrate abilities that defied everything he had ever learned about physics. His wound had healed remarkably fast under her care. Focus on the water, she instructed, pointing to a small bowl between them. Don't try to move it. Just feel its existence. Taeho concentrated, his silver skin reflecting the soft blue light that filled the room. For 2 weeks, Dr. Minji had been teaching him the basics of human consciousness techniques. At first, he thought it impossible, his Bozari biology shouldn't allow it. Yet something was happening. Your people were modified, Dr. Minji explained, sensing his frustration. Long ago, after the first conflict between our species, your rulers changed your genetic code to block these abilities. To control us, Taeho said quietly. The truth still felt like a blade in his chest. Yes. But the block isn't perfect. The potential remains, buried deep. A young human messenger burst into the room. Dr. Minji. The council needs you immediately. They've arrived in force. Taeho followed Dr. Minji through winding tunnels to a massive circular chamber where dozens of humans gathered around a projection of Earth's orbit. Hundreds of Bozari warships now surrounded the planet. They're broadcasting on all frequencies, said Jinwoo, who now regarded Taeho with cautious respect. The message is playing worldwide. The central display shifted to show Grand Commander Daesong of the Bozari fleet. Taeho had seen him only once before, at a military ceremony. People of Earth, Daesong's voice boomed. Your planet harbors dangerous elements that threaten galactic stability. Surrender the individuals called Awakened for proper processing, and the rest will be spared. Resistance is futile. You have 6 hours to comply. The room erupted in urgent discussion. Taeho noticed humans around the world were responding with confusion and panic. Most knew nothing of the Awakened or the true nature of the conflict. They're going to use planet-killer weapons, Taeho said grimly. I've seen the plans. The Bozari Council would rather destroy Earth than allow humans with these abilities to exist. Then we must accelerate our plans, said an elderly woman who Taeho had learned was the leader of the Awakened Council. Minji, are you prepared? Dr. Minji's face went pale. It's too soon. The ascension ritual normally requires months of preparation. We don't have months, the elder replied. We don't even have days. Taeho looked between them. What is this ascension? Dr. Minji hesitated before answering. A process to fully unlock human potential. It breaks the final barriers between consciousness and reality. In our history, only 17 humans have ever completed it successfully. And the others? Taeho asked. Died, she said simply. Or worse. The elder stepped forward. Minji has the strongest connection to the quantum field we've measured in 5 generations. If anyone can survive an accelerated ascension, it's her. Taeho felt sudden fear grip him. In their short time together, Dr. Minji had become more than a teacher, she was his friend, perhaps something more. There must be another way. There isn't, Dr. Minji said with quiet resolve. I've been preparing for this possibility. The next 3 hours passed in a blur of activity. Taeho helped prepare the Ascension Chamber, an ancient room lined with crystals that Dr. Minji explained would amplify and focus consciousness energy. If I don't survive, she told him privately as they completed the preparations, lead our people to the evacuation points. The coordinates are in the system. I won't leave without you, Taeho insisted. Dr. Minji smiled sadly. You may have no choice. When everything was ready, Dr. Minji entered the central circle, wearing only simple white clothes. 50 of the most powerful awakened surrounded her, forming a living circuit of energy. The ritual began with a low hum that gradually built to a sound Taeho felt in his bones. The air within the circle began to shimmer and distort. Dr. Minji rose slowly from the ground, her body arching as if in pain. Is this normal? Taeho whispered to Jinwoo, who stood beside him. Nothing about this is normal, Jinwoo replied tightly. We're compressing months of preparation into hours. Light began to pour from Dr. Minji's eyes and mouth. Her skin became translucent, revealing a network of energy rather than blood vessels. She screamed, a sound so primal that Taeho had to cover his ears. Several of the supporting awakened collapsed, blood streaming from their noses. The others intensified their efforts, faces strained with concentration. Just when Taeho thought the chamber itself would shatter from the energy, everything stopped. Dr. Minji hung suspended in absolute silence, her body transformed into something that looked both human and not, a being of light and matter intertwined. Slowly, she opened her eyes. They contained galaxies. Minji? Taeho whispered. She turned to him, and when she spoke, her voice resonated on multiple levels simultaneously. Not just Minji anymore, she said. But I remember you, Taeho. She floated gently to the ground, light still coursing beneath her skin. Now, she said, looking upward as if seeing through the mountain to the ships above, I can face them. The Vozari flagship hovered in Earth's orbit, its massive hull blocking out the sun for the cities below. Grand Commander Daesung stood on the bridge, watching the countdown timer reach the final minute of his ultimatum. No response from their leaders, his second-in-command reported. As expected, Daesung said coolly. Humans always choose defiance, even when it means destruction. Prepare the Star Killer. Technicians activated the flagship's primary weapon, a device capable of triggering a chain reaction in a star's core, causing it to collapse. For a smaller star like Earth's sun, the process would take minutes rather than hours. Star Killer charging, Commander. Ready in 3 minutes. Suddenly, the bridge lights flickered. Sensor consoles erupted with warnings. Something's approaching from the planet, a technician called out. Energy signature unknown. Daesung watched the viewscreen as a small point of light rose from Earth, moving impossibly fast through the atmosphere without generating heat or friction. The light stopped 1,000 meters from the flagship. Magnify, Daesung ordered. The screen showed what appeared to be a human female, floating in the vacuum of space without protection, surrounded by a soft glow. Her eyes shined like distant stars. Impossible, Daesung whispered. Then louder, target that entity with all weapons. Before the order could be carried out, the figure vanished and reappeared directly on the bridge. Vozari soldiers raised weapons, but found themselves unable to move. Hello, Commander, Dr. Minji said. Her voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. I've come to negotiate the terms of your surrender. Daesong's silver skin paled to white. We do not surrender to lesser beings. You cannot stop all our ships. I don't need to, she replied. I only need to help you remember. She raised her hand, and everyone on the bridge froze except for Taeho, who had insisted on accompanying her. She had brought him aboard through means he still couldn't comprehend. Show them, Taeho urged. Show them what you showed me. Dr. Minji nodded and closed her eyes. The bridge disappeared around them, replaced by images from the distant past. Vozarian humans, working together, building wonders across the stars. The Vozari ancestors looked different, their eyes had pupils, their skin less metallic. 10,000 years ago, Dr. Minji's voice explained as the images flowed, our races were allies. Humans helped Vozari develop space travel. Vozari helped humans harness solar energy. The images shifted to show conflict. A small group of Vozari leaders watching humans with fear and envy. Secret meetings. Plans. Your ancestors grew afraid of human potential, she continued. They believed we would eventually surpass them, perhaps rule them. So they attacked, without warning. The images showed the ancient war, humans using their abilities to defend, Vozari using terrible weapons. Planets destroyed. When they realized they could not win through force, Dr. Minji said, they created a biological weapon. Not to kill humans, but to change their own people. The scene showed Vozari scientists injecting their own population with a serum that altered their biology. Their eyes changed, becoming solid orbs. Their skin hardened to its modern metallic appearance. The modification blocked your connection to the quantum field, Dr. Minji explained. It made you immune to our abilities, but it also prevented you from developing those same abilities yourselves. Your leaders sacrificed your potential to ensure control. The bridge gradually reappeared around them. Daesong remained frozen, but his eyes showed he had seen everything. The Starkiller is fully charged, Commander, the weapons officer announced, unaware of what had transpired. Dr. Minji stepped closer to Daesong. Your choice now. Continue this path of destruction based on ancient lies, or help your people reclaim what was taken from them. She placed her hand on Daesong's chest. Light flowed from her fingers into his body. The commander gasped as the genetic block in his system temporarily lifted. For the first time in his life, he felt the quantum field, the underlying fabric of reality that humans called consciousness. Dr. Minji stepped back. That's what was stolen from you. From all Vozari. Daesong trembled. We can feel this too? All conscious beings can, she replied. The potential exists in every species. Humans simply discovered it first. Daesong looked at Taeho. You've experienced this? Taeho nodded. I'm only beginning to learn, but yes. Everything we've been taught about humans, about ourselves, is wrong. For a long moment, Daesong stood silent, the weight of 10,000 years of lies crushing down upon him. Then, slowly, he turned to the weapons console. Abort the Starkiller, he commanded. All ships stand down. He faced Dr. Minji again. What happens now? Now, she said, her eyes still containing galaxies, we heal what was broken. Not just between our peoples, but within your own. She raised her arms, and from the planet below, beams of light shot upward, connecting with every Vozari ship in orbit. Within each vessel, the same genetic block that had limited the Vozari for millennia began to dissolve. Taeho watched in wonder as the Vozari around him experienced their first taste of true connection to the universe. Some wept. Others laughed. All were forever changed. Not gods, Dr. Minji said softly to Taeho as they witnessed the transformation. Just beings awakening to what was always inside them.